So France, 946,190. The UK, 950,746. Hello and welcome to e-Niro Diaries. Getting towards the end of 2023 and we're getting some pretty reliable data in on car sales for November now, and add those to the ones that we've already got for the rest of the year. And it seems that both the UK and France are within 50,000 of reaching the 1 million battery electric vehicles on the roads. And that doesn't include plug-in hybrids, by the way. So it's interesting that from the perspective that things don't change very much, actually they change quite fast when you look back. I ordered the Kia e-Niro on the 31st of December 2018, took delivery of it on in March 2019. So it's been 5 years almost since I ordered the e-Niro. And in that time, France has gone from about 100, 120,000 electric vehicles on the road to, say, almost a million. But then again, what did we have available at that time when I ordered the e-Niro? Well, there was a Nissan Leaf, there was a Renault Zoe, the Kia Soul was around, but that had the smaller battery version of the Soul. The bigger battery version hadn't been launched at that point. There was a Hyundai Kona, and the Tesla Model 3, I think, had been out about a year. So in France, you had, the very expensive Tesla Model S, Model X. You see a few of those around, but they never sold, obviously, in big numbers. They're in a sort of high end of the market. So how have we got to this million then all of a sudden, it would seem? Well, it hasn't been all of a sudden. It's taken 11 years if you count that the Renault Zoe was launched in December 2012 and became available in 2013. If you include 2023, it's taken 11 years to get from sort of virtually nothing to a million. And I think it's true to say much same in the UK, where, in 2010, 2011, I think a few Nissan Leafs found buyers because they were initially coming from Japan, and then they started building them in the UK, and the sales built up from there. But the UK only had about the same as France did in 2018, 2019, about 100,000 electric vehicles on the roads, as you can see here. Now, there's an awful lot of stuff around on YouTube that electric vehicle sales have crashed and that nobody wants them and that everyone who's wants an EV has already found an EV to buy, the early adopters and the kind of techie people who want them, and the EV sales will now flatten off and just take a certain percentage of the market and not grow anymore. Whereas, of course, the reality is very different, and I think the sales figures bear that out. So in the context of the number of vehicles on the roads of France, what does that really mean? Well, as I say, when I bought the e-Niro or took delivery of the e-Niro in 2019, there were less than 1% of the cars on the roads were EVs. And that 1% mark wasn't reached until the second half of 2020. So that's when we had about 380,000 EVs on the road. So we could say that between 2013, when the Renault Zoe went on sale, and late 2020, we had like 8 years of sales to get to that 1% mark. And I've always said that the 1% mark is really key, because if you look at the introduction of other game-changing products like smartphones and digital cameras, they all follow this same kind of S-curve, and the takeoff point is when you get to 1%. That's when things start to accelerate. So you take 8 years to get to 1% in the case of electric vehicles, and then the 2% mark came up earlier this year in about February, March time. So we've gone then 2 years and 3 months to get to 2%, call it 2.5 years to get to 2%. So 8 years to 1%, 2.5 years to 2%. We're getting very close to the 3% mark now, which would be 1.16 million. And we should see that come up here in France around about May, June time at the current run rate of sales. And the run rate is, by the way, edging up all the time as more new models become available. And the charging infrastructure improves, which is, of course, one of the things that holds some people back from taking the plunge, ditching fossil fuels, and going electric. So that 3% mark, then, when it comes up, would have taken about 15 months. So 8 years, 2.5 years, 15 months. And then, obviously, for the 4% mark, which will be getting for 2 million vehicles, that's probably going to come up within a year. So you can see the rate of change in the car market. It's going to take 15 to 20 years to replace all the fossil fuel cars on the roads, but it's on the way. We can see the writing on the wall. Everything's going to go electric, and in fact, there's been a continuous decline since 2018 on the number of internal combustion engines being sold globally. I know I'm just talking about France and the UK here, but even in the United States, which is a way behind Europe in EV adoption, sales there have doubled this year comfortably. And China, which is the world's biggest car market, looks like it's going to end the year with about 38-39% of all new cars being electric. So there we go. I hope you found that interesting. We look forward to 2024, where there's going to be more EVs on the road, more cars to choose from, and I think this is quite exciting. And reaching that million mark is a real kind of milestone, I think. So anyway, I hope you found that interesting. If you do, please tick a like, or better still, subscribe. Hope you have a great Christmas and New Year. Until the next time.